Our today's topic is about preventing disease and promoting health. During the past century, public health has become increasingly dominated by technological advances and epidemiology. Scientific knowledge is only one of the several elements fundamental to effective public health practices. Such knowledge must be combined with engagement in civil society and social movements to result in effective action. Modern diseases of cancer, heart disease, and obesity do not fit this paradigm, accepting that the health of an individual arises from the health of the society and of the environment. If the practice of the public health is to be effective, the ideology of the health promotion must pervade all fields impacting the public good, from environment protection to healthcare. Arrives increase in hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, type 2 diabetes, and a host of other ills, taking obesity as emblematic of most health issues confronting developed and developing nations. We can ask what the role of public health should be in the relationship between the individual and the environment, both natural and built. Health is an amorphous concept. The word derives from the Greek word meaning whole and is defined as wholeness, being whole, sound, or well. This idea of wholeness is open to wide-ranging interpretation and can be seen to refer to the health of the individual, community, or the nation. Health was often synonymous with the health of the state, whose needs were a steady supply of soldiers or laborers well enough to fight or work, control of overpopulation, protection of the elite, and environmental stability. Many developments in public health have arisen from the poor physical state of military recruits. In 1948, the World Health Organization defined the health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Critics of the definition suggest that for the definition of health to be a useful guiding principle, it must refer to a less idealistic state that can be agreed upon as an achievable level of well-being. Although WHO's intent may have been intentionally ambitious, it is also worth examining a more restrictive definition of the health. Seedhouse's Foundation's theory of health, which ultimately results in individual achievement of human potential, posits four basic building blocks for all people and a fifth block that varies due to the personal characteristics and circumstances. The first four block represents the basic needs such as food, shelter and clothing, access to as much information as possible about all factors affecting one's life, the skills and confidence needed to assimilate this information, the understanding that one does not operate in isolation but as part of one's physical and societal surroundings. The fifth block differs from each individual, depending on the additional support needed in difficult circumstances. This block becomes necessary when a life problem, such as an adverse medical event or the loss of a job or home, diminishes or destroys the ability of the four primary building blocks to support a person's present way of life. Valuable about this definition is that it does not rely on biology alone and thus not on traditional medicine. Rather, it places the individual within a context and provides the individual with the information, skills, and socialization needed to negotiate the environment in attempting to fulfill his or her potential. Unfortunately, the Foundation's theory is limited in that it does not incorporate the role of an individual's environment on his or her health. A health promotion model, conversely, is based on the ideal of providing a healthy environment within which the individual operates. The history of public health is in developed countries reveals a origin far different from the contemporary practice of public health, which have perhaps been sidetracked by a focus on medical intervention and an infatuation with technical solution. It has been observed that while public health has evolved into a subdivision of medicine with minimal and subordinate inclusion of the ancillary disciplines of engineering and the social sciences, health has been improved by many non-medical factors: economic prosperity, town planning, architecture, religious and humanitarian charity, the power of organized labor, and even broader political changes resulting in the greater availability of political or economic rights. On the earliest roles of public health was in reaction to an epidemic crisis, an effort undertaken only when the public believed action would make a difference. The reaction to an epidemic had been abject resignation. Medieval Latin countries, in the face of the plague and leprosy, became activist, although the actions taken, such as quarantine and programs, by no means benefited everyone. A populace acting perspiciously and independently threatened civil institutions. It is the institutional responses to such actions that public health emerges as a form of public authority. Another early role of public health in Western societies was to regulate communities for the common good. This policing function include enforcing the rules for sanitation and construction, caring for the poor, regulating work hours, conducting markets and the quality of the goods sold, maintaining the population statistics, and regulating medical practices, activities still within the purview of public health. Whereas regulation of medical practices served the interest of established practitioners, it was done under the guise of maintaining the quality of public medical care, a stance hauntingly reminiscent of the American medical associations. During the course of the 19th century, public health became less a means of supporting the state than a right of citizenship. Public health grew less reactive and regulatory and more oriented towards the goals of reducing rates of morbidity and mortality. This new focus on prevention paralleled and stimulated the growth in knowledge of the means of prevention. During the first half of the 19th century, although France was the scientific leader in public health, sadly, researchers could not envision how to translate their findings into preventive legislation, whereas Britain embarrassed sanitation, comprehensive systems of water and sewerages, as a means not only to improved health, but for a prettier, happier, and better world. Significantly, the US remained along among Western nations in adhering to a policy that an individual health was solely a private matter. The 20th century, described by Hamlin as the golden age of public health, led to expanded public health regulation of an individual's life, home, work, family relations, recreation, beyond that of the previous century's medical police. That it proved eminently successful in reducing the morbidity and mortality was generally seen by its citizens as an appropriate and desirable role of the state. This social contract is reciprocal in that the state can then expect its citizens to survive, to be healthy. With the emergence of cancers and other chronic illness, such as type 2 diabetes, with no single prevention strategy, the question arose as to how far reaching were the health obligations of the liberal state to its citizens, because many of these newly prominent diseases were not infectious. They did not disrupt the community or state in the same manner as the Black Death or impure drinking water, decreasing the value of the reactive and policing approaches to public health. Yet these diseases do interfere with fulfillment of human potential, and citizens can justly demand attention by the state. The problem of the relationship between the institutions of public health and the citizenry on whole behalf they claim to act is the greater challenge currently facing public health in the developed world. It is from this perspective that I suggest the role of the public health demands a paradigm shift. A strictly reactive policing or preventive approach to public health ignores the current health conditions confronting individuals. If not worldwide, certainly in our country and other developed countries, a holistic or system approach accepts that does not exist in a vacuum and that the health of a society's physical environment, culture, and economic manifest itself in the individual health status of its citizens. Why does not disease prevention suffice as a model for the public health? What is the relationship between public health, the health of the individual, and disease prevention? A focus on disease prevention assumes exposure to causative factors of disease. In other words, by the time a disease prevention model is implemented, it is already too late. Health promotion preempts disease. It shifts the concentration of effort, posting a state of health as the norm, as something to be supported and encouraged, rather than a state of disease of something that must be battled. Although disease prevention and health promotion are often conjoined, I would argue that the two are distinct activities with distinct motivations and goal. Disease prevention is incontrovertibly the overriding approach to the health, as evidenced by a search of articles available on the PubMed and Medline in 2005, retrieved using a limited set of search strings. More than 5 times as many articles deal with the disease prevention as with health promotion, although 5 articles describe some form of the research on promoting a healthy weight. Over 3,000 deal with obesity prevention. Promoting non-smoking got 5 hits. Smoking cessation 10,662. Combined increasingly physical activity and physical activity appeared in 18,954 articles, whereas just 3 diseases partially resulting from lack of activity appeared in 456 to 6 articles. The disease prevention paradigm is not working as effectively to enhance the health of our nation as we would hope. The 6 leading causes of death were heart disease, cancer, chronic lower respiratory disease, accidents, and diabetes. None of these diseases cause widespread panic as would a raging epidemic, require policing as would an unsafe water supply, or are preventable by a vaccine. All but accidental death would benefit from a health promotion model. Because the nature of the predominant health issues confronting our society has changed, so must public health change the way in which it confronts these issues. Although disease such as heart disease and diabetes can be attributed in part of lifestyle choices, cancer can often be attributed to environmental causes. Although many remain unidentified or speculative, even lifestyle choices are driven by economic conditions, such as poverty, or environment conditions, such as lack of sidewalks in suburban neighborhoods. The public health workforce and infrastructure are unprepared to meet these challenges. In most developed countries, public health has narrowed in focus and to a large extent is driven by the research agenda of academic epidemiologists and biomedical scientists. Its focus has often been on what can be measured easily, such as cholesterol or blood pressure, rather than on the immensely more complex issues of the broader social forces that also affect health directly or indirectly, such as economic transactions. A strictly quantitative approach to health neglects many of the causes of lack of health. In short, the public health activities induced by a disease prevention model are inadequate. Only a small portion of the population adheres to a healthy lifestyle in our country. 4 healthy lifestyle characteristics, which include non-smoking, healthy weight, fruits and vegetable consumption, and regular physical activity, taken together can serve as a single healthy lifestyle indicator. Using the data from the 2000 Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System, which surveyed more than 153 zero adults aged 18 to 74 by phone, researchers determined that only 3% of the United States adults practiced all 4 health behaviors. A subsequent study using the same 4 healthy lifestyle characteristics examined the data from the third National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, with a poll of 16,176 adults. They found that 6.8% of the population engaged in all 4 healthy lifestyle factors and concluded there is a long road to travel before a preponderance of Americans adopt a healthy lifestyle. Added low alcohol consumption. In our research using the 5 healthy life cycle characteristics found that 6% of the adults adhere to a healthy lifestyle and 5% follow none of the recommendations at all. These findings were further corroborated by a study of people with and without coronary heart diseases using 3 healthy lifestyle characteristics non-smoking, fruits and vegetable consumption, and physical activity. Among those without heart disease, 5% adhere to all three behaviors. Among those with heart disease, 7% adhere to all three behaviors. These studies make abundantly clear that the vast majority of the population does not engage in the healthy lifestyle practices. Dietary guidelines for the population developed jointly by the Department of Health and Human Services and the United States Department of Agriculture have been available in one form or another since of 1980. The original impetus for the guidelines was the 1977 Dietary Goals, also known as the McGowan Report, issued by the Senate Select Committee on Nutrition and Human Needs. This report was particularly distressing to certain special interest groups because of its recommendation for the Americans to reduce their consumption of meat, soft drinks, and total calories. The involvement of the USDA in developing dietary guidelines is considered by many of the in direct conflict with its goal of promoting agriculture, which can be interpreted as a goal to increase consumption. Awareness of both of these issues, the negative impact of lobbying by private industry and potential conflicts of interest of government agencies, must be maintained when developing a health promoting ideology. The questionable efficacy of these guidelines and the accompanying My Pyramid in producing a healthy promotion, regardless of their scientific quantitative accuracy, indicates that tossing them out into the public arena without simultaneously providing a supportive environment in which to follow them is basically futile. Compounding the inadequacies of disease prevention in our society are activities that are directly disease promoting. Inadequate housing is associated with a variety of physical and mental problems. Homelessness or overcrowding results from a number of disease promoting policies, including reduced support for low income housing, conversion of low income housing to middle or upper income housing, increases in the number of people living in poverty or having low wage jobs, and deinstitutionalization of the mentally ill without compensating community mental health services. The last 25 years have been environmental conditions as a whole improve air, lead, particularly matter, and other forms of pollution in urban communities continue to be associated with increased rates of illness and death. Almost one-fifth of the population lack health insurance. Disease promotion is induced by activities of tobacco industry, gun manufacturers, the alcohol industry, illicit drug dealers, and producers of high-fat, low nutrient value foods, many of whom freely lobby our policymakers and ruthlessly advertise to our children. Urban dwellers often feel unsafe in their own neighborhood because of real or perceived potential for crime, whereas subordinates deprived of sidewalks also feel unsafe, deterred from physical activity by fear of speeding traffic. A broad-based interpretation of health promotion has international origins. WHO, established in 1948, attempted to define health and to make explicit the role of government in the health of their citizens. In 1978, a combined conferences of WHO and the United Nations International Children Emergency Fund (USSR), with 134 nations present, confirmed WHO's original definition of health and expanded it to note that people are affected by their social, economic, and natural environments. This declaration led to the development in 1981 of the Global Strategies for Health for All by the year 2000. The major components of this strategy include equity in health, health promotion, preventive activity in primary healthcare settings, cooperation between government, communities, and the private sector, and increased community participation. The Alma-Ata Declaration failed to provide an identifiable framework for action, spurring a series of international conferences on health promotion. The first, held in Ottawa in 1986, resulted in the Ottawa Charter for Health Promotion, a comprehensive document some of whose ideas are similar to those addressed, including the idea that health promotion is not just the responsibility of the health sector. The conference's call to action for WHO and other international organizations seems to have fallen on deaf ears. The second International Conference on Health Promotion was held in Adelaide, Australia, in 1988 and produced the Recommendations on Healthy Public Policy. The Third International Conference on Health Promotion in 1991 in Sweden resulted in the Sundsvall Statement on Supportive Environment in 1997. The Fourth International Conference on Health Promotion in Jakarta, Indonesia, prepared the Jakarta Declaration, which lists 5 priority areas for the action: promote social responsibility for health, increase investment for health development, consolidate and expand partnership for health, increase community capacity and empower the individual, and secure and infrastructure for health promotion. Mexico City, Mexico City hosted the fifth Global Health Promotion Conference in 2000, which focused on how health promotion improves the lives of socially and economically disadvantaged people. The ministers of health from 87 countries signed a ministerial statement that included a pledge to draw up a country-wide plan of action to monitor progress made in incorporating strategies which promote the health into nation and local policy and planning. The document arising from these conferences contains sensitive analysis, impressive goals, and sweeping calls to action. HIV/AIDS rages throughout much of the Africa, and the obesity epidemic is spreading from the United States through developed nations and into the developing ones. Individual nations are not acting upon the ideas and philosophies espoused by these conferences findings. Steps to a healthier population. Purpose to move the population from a disease care system to a healthcare system. The online brochure describing the initiative states that policymakers, the health community, and the public must come together to establish the programs and policies that support behavior changes, encourage the healthier lifestyle choices, and reduce the disparities in healthcare. In other words, two of the three goals of this initiative are based solely on personal choices and non-knowledge the impact of the physical, social, political, or commercial environments on individual health. How does an emphasis on health promotion change our perception of the appropriate activities of public health? How do we go about promoting health promotions? How do we make it fundamental to various fields outside of the public health? For example, in town planning, where children can no longer walk safely to the schools, where inadequately thought through designs result in a sick building syndrome. Public health cannot be seen as isolated within its own self contained bubble, apart from other fields of study in the way, for example, pure mathematics might be considered distinct. Rather, public health must become a component of urban planning, engineering, legislation. The concept of environment refers to more than just the physical arena in which people live, work, and play, but also includes social, economic, and cultural dimensions. Grounded public health in health promotion recognizes and appreciates that numerous professions, law, engineering, human relation personnels, public service are currently, through perhaps unwittingly, engaged in public health. That many disciplines are needed to understand the links between the underlying and proximal determinants of health is as much a potential strength of public health as it is weakness. The goal would then be to make explicit the idea of the health promotion in field of study as disparate as law, engineering, architecture, and city planning. Exposing students of these fields to the concepts of public health and health promotion is fundamental to achieving a true paradigm shift. It cannot be left to happenstance. Expanding the definition of who is public health worker increases the ability of the public health workforce to meet the current challenges. Different individuals and organizations have developed their own definitions of health promotion, interpreting the term to match their agendas and philosophies, often equating the term with health education. The traditional preventive approach to health education has limited effectiveness. Health promotion gasps for life as an almost irrelevant subset of disease prevention. Health promotion is a phenomenon that takes place almost entirely outside the 10 to 20 minutes available for a clinical encounter and targets specific health risks or behaviors. Health promotion includes nutrition counseling and advice, smoking cessation education, weight loss and weight management education, prenatal education, health risk assessment, sexually transmitted diseases, prevention, stress management education, and substance abuse counseling. This pale attempt at health promotion, in which physicians might play only a very small role, is the wrong mindset, and many of the programs arise from a disease prevention perspective, not health promotion. Surely, a smoking cessation or substance abuse program is not health promoting in the same manner as a nutrition education program, nor is a nutrition education through a program at a local clinic health promoting in the same manner as it would be if provided within the flow of elementary school education. The ecological approach, portraying itself as a system approach, is not broad based enough. Although its supporter believes grassroots health promotion efforts wield many advantages over large national or supranational efforts, and consider them an important health promotion principles. Without national and supranational efforts, such grassroots efforts are attempting to slay giants, confronting asthma among the children, will always against the something hitting its mark after prodigious effort. This is no way mean to denigrate the grassroots programs, without which the health status of our nation would be further diminished. Nor does it predict their demise, yet it is intended to suggest a shift in perspective whereby the goals of grassroots programs would be supported by the system at large. Some overlapping to promote the health, especially in urban environment but applicable as well to the suburban and rural environments. These suggestions are give access to the quality primary care, increase health knowledge, reduce risky behaviors, increase social support, reduce the stigma and marginalization, advocate health promoting policies, improve urban physical environments, meet basic needs, create supportive social environments, reduce the income inequality. Two of these strategies directly coincide with the first two of the four primary building blocks for health. North Karelia, a comprehensive community program for health promotion, was initiated in Finland in 1972 after a petition by the local population was submitted to the government, asking that something be done to reduce the high cardiovascular disease rates in the area. The government had failed the population in helping to provide a health promoting environment. Although the aims of the program were to improve the detection and control of hypertension, reduce smoking, and improve dietary habits, an intriguing byproduct of the intervention. In addition to improve health in neighboring townships due to the leakage, was the creation of new food products such as sausages that substituted mushrooms for some meat and fat and low-fat milk, as well as increased consumers' demand for these products. The environment is often a determining influence on behavior and may be a direct influence on earth. Note that the population, knowing their health was at risk, had to ask the government to intervene in helping them create a health promoting environment rather than a disease promoting environment. Health requires a coordinated system approach and cannot be neglected piecemeal to small community based organizations. Next example in the New York. Tobacco control measures. Although cigarette smoking remains the leading cause of preventable deaths in the United States, even in the worldwide, a disease prevention rather than the health promotion perspective on public health give rise to escalating the wars of advertisement by tobacco companies and counterintelligence by community-based organizations. Nationwide organizations such as the American Heart Association and private foundation, as long as health promoting policies such as limitations on advertising for known causes of cancers are degraded as contrary to the First Amendment and freedom of speech. Defensive disease prevention actions such as increase in taxes on cigarettes, the Smoke-Free Air Act passed in 2003 and nicotine dependence guidelines for physicians are imperative. The cigarette tax was most effective in reducing the smoking. Disproportionately affect low-income users, yet exposing 67,000 fewer non-smokers to the negative health impact of exposure to the cigarette smoke lifestyle compared to the medication interventions. In one study, the cost effectiveness of a lifestyle modification compared with metformin in preventing type 2 diabetes perfectly exemplify the fundamental differences between health promotion and disease prevention. Whereas both interventions were effective in comparison to a placebo, the lifestyle intervention outclassed the drug in terms of delaying onset, reducing absolute incidence, and cost per quality of life year. Lifestyle intervention increased life expectancy by 0.5 years, metformin by 0.2 years. Associated morbidities such as blindness, end-stage renal disease, amputation, stroke, and coronary heart disease were decreased by greater percentages with lifestyle rather than metformin intervention. Overall, the lifestyle intervention provided greater health benefits at lower cost than the metformin intervention. Health promotion cannot ultimately be naive. It would be irresponsible for a health promotion perspective to neglect the reality of disease and the need for clinical and social interventions. Health education as well as treatment are components of health promotion. The consumption of the poor tuberculosis in the 21st century. The occurrence of tuberculosis in three separate individuals. Of the first, Jean is a member of only truly productive class, the rurally peasantry, but membership in that class brought certain bright lights. As a subsistence farmer, Jean belongs to the poorest class in the hemisphere and is thus ensured that the right not to attend school, to lack electricity or safe drinking water. A health promotion model, whatever we want to make of the economic abuse of small farmers throughout the world, would not permit lack of education, lack of safe water, denial of medical care, and political disenfranchisement. These are fundamental to the concept of health promotion. Without a health promotion model, although tuberculosis itself might be eradicated, vindicating a model based on Koch postulates other diseases or tuberculosis itself will recur with continued displacement of population, with devaluation of agriculture workers, with overcrowding, such as urbanization threaten the health and well-being of millions of people. Urbanization is far more than a trend, it is a direct result of governmental policies, such as supporting agribusinesses, monocropping, and exportation rather than small local farmers. Such policies deprive subsistence farmers of their land, driving them into overcrowded cities where the spread of disease is rampant. Public health practitioners need to acknowledge the political nature of the process of developing health policy and act accordingly. This is not to suggest that our current policies are completely devoid of a health promoting ideology. A number of policies codified as federal, state, or local law have been instituted throughout the course of our history. There is no unified approach with a consistent physiological basis. These policies are enforced under the aegis of many different agencies, are often not perceived as public health initiatives per se and are frequently undetermined by monetary interest of private industry such as meat packing and oil. The role of personal responsibility in achieving health cannot be overlooked. Public health has taken a market approach, limiting government responsibilities for public health and placing the burden of health improvements on the individual. Given the reality of a health promoting environment, it would be up to the individual to make the choice to be healthy. Most of us are outsiders some of the time, not compelled by the need to behave according to the rules, whether by being over lazy or daring, or by consuming less than the recommended 5 fruits and vegetables every day or more than the recommended shot. In our present society, even those diseases most closely linked to the lifestyle choices could be attributed to the broader social environment. To expect disciplined personal behavior from alienated people living in a stressful world would be unrealistic, and the institutions of public health should recognize this. How absurd for a state to subsidize the production of tobacco and the addiction to it of the people in other nations. The goal of health promotion should be fundamental to pervasive across disciplines, with the ultimate goal being a healthy and enabling environment. Collective action is justified because health is both an end in itself, a human right, as well as for achieving the human potential. Public health must acknowledge the direct impact of environmental and socio-economic circumstances on decision individuals make about health. A health promoting environment enables the individual to make choices, although these will not always be what a public health practitioner or an other informed citizen might define as healthy. A health promoting society is one with strong public policy initiatives, constant evaluation of policy, universal health care, the ability to see beyond the market driven imperatives, and a clearly articulated definition of health.